Get in the game with the college-branded Venmo debit card. Wreck your team with every tap and earn up to 5% cash back with Venmo Stash, a new rewards program from Venmo. No monthly fee, no minimum balance, just school pride and spending power. Get in the game and sign up for the Venmo debit card at venmo.com/collegecard. The Venmo MasterCard is issued by the Bancorp Bank N.A. Select schools available. Venmo Stash terms and exclusions apply at venmo.me/stash terms. Max $100 cash back per month.
Fox News is now streaming live on Fox One. When news breaks, we don't just report it. We go beyond the headlines to get the full story. Get live coverage, in-depth analysis, and perspectives from the voices you trust, all in one place. Whether you're at home or on the go, stay connected to the stories shaping our world. Stream Fox News on Fox One. Download today.
For the News and Observer, I'm Dawn Vaughan, Capitol Bureau Chief and host of Under the Dome. Today, I'm joined by our DC correspondent, Danielle Battaglia. In case somehow you missed the national news, the federal shutdown is over after a very long time. We're going to talk about how it finally happened, what it means for North Carolina, how things are getting rolling. Danielle, I'm just going to cut you loose into like our 40 something. How many days was it? 43 days?
It was 43 days, but I was laughing with somebody because if you look at reporting, I shouldn't say this on a podcast, but I'm going to roast the media. It was like anywhere from 40 to 40 or 41 to 44 days. I was seeing numbers. I don't think reporters know how to do math, but it was 43 days. We were shut down. The House had not been in session since September 19th. And their reasoning was that they felt like they passed a clean continuing resolution, which is the mechanism that we keep the government funded under its current budget until we figure out how to actually pass a budget. We're kind of like North Carolina where we don't know how to pass a budget. So we work on these continuing resolutions for a while until we, get it together and figure out, our 12 appropriation bills because the government works off 12 appropriation bills. And so they hadn't been in since September 19th. The Senate has been fighting over the bill that the House had passed over to them. And basically it was Senate Democrats feeling like they wanted to negotiate off that bill on healthcare. And it was on the Affordable Care Act subsidies specifically. These were subsidies that were in place to help low-income people afford health care. They're set to expire at the end of the year. And we're going to see premiums go up like 400%. And that was really concerning both to Americans who are affected by it, but also to the Senate Democrats who didn't want to see that happen. There are some Republicans too who say like, this is not acceptable. We need to find a path forward on it. Those same Republicans did not feel like this was the vehicle to do that on. Senate Democrats said, this is our only vehicle to negotiate. So, they held on pretty long. Like we said, 43 days. It wasn't until Sunday that we started to see some movement.
I should pause you there for a sec because of our timing. People listen to this Tuesday morning. We're recording this late afternoon on Friday. So it'll be a little over a week ago is what you're referring to.
Last Sunday, or I guess 2 Sundays ago now, we started seeing movement. And it's so unusual for the Senate to stay past Thursday. Like, they're working if they're here past Thursday afternoon. That Sunday, we saw movement. We saw them start to come together with 7 Democrats and 1 independent that caucuses with the Democrats. They pushed a bill forward that basically moves the continuing resolution to January 30th and then passes 3 of the appropriation bills. And so they were able to move that into the floor, and then they got a full Senate vote. That passed, and then House Republicans pushed it over the edge. It went to the president's desk at 9:45 on Wednesday, although I don't think he actually signed it till 10:20. It was supposed to be there at 9:45. And the government reopened.
So what does this actually mean? Was anything solved for healthcare?
No, which is, I shouldn't laugh at that. It's not funny. But it's funny in the fact that we've been GM'd up all this time. And as Congress does, nothing got accomplished. The one thing that they did do to get those 8 Democratic caucus members to move, Majority Leader John Thune said, if you guys take this vote, I will move the ACA subsidies to a floor vote in the Senate in December. Now, the problem is that the House Speaker, Mike Johnson, did not make that same agreement. So you've got the agreement on the Senate side. You don't have it on the House side. It's everyone's guessing game on where that's going to go.
So how hard is it to restart things like, well, let's talk about salaries and then SNAP and then airports, because those seem to be like the 3 top things that people are most concerned about or got the most attention.
So the really good thing with this deal that they worked out is that anyone who was laid off during the shutdown, they will automatically retain their jobs. That was an agreement that they made as senators. And then President Donald Trump said he would honor it. So they get their jobs back. And then people who were furloughed will get back pay. That was something that wasn't always. So normally it is technically law that you get back pay if you are furloughed during these shutdowns or working without pay during these shutdowns. And this time we saw a lot of pressure being put on by the president to, I think, move things along. And so we saw a lot greater pain. And one of the threats was you're not going to get back pay. And this agreement they made was for back pay to come. And so everything immediately opened back up and people should be getting their paychecks and the back pay and getting their jobs back. There is a snag with the airport. So even though the airports are back and people are working, it's going to take, because anytime you have a flight that gets delayed, that causes ripple effects down at other airports. And so it's going to take a little bit to get these flights back into the air on time. Eventually it will work itself out, but it's always a little complicated when you're this close to a major holiday like Thanksgiving, where people are traveling to see their family. So TBD, we've heard some good things on people I know who've been traveling and they haven't had problems yet. But we've also heard some horror stories. So
what about SNAP benefits?
SNAP benefits, I believe, should be going back. I haven't actually looked into the SNAP benefits specifically, but I believe they should be going back into effect immediately because those would be funded. I just don't want to swear to it since I haven't looked at that specific issue yet.
What else? Is there anything else that's been kind of, lingering out there that people would notice, or anything North Carolina specific to as far as the actual restarting?
So, I mean, you're going to see those, like the national parks are going to reopen. Mail was never stopped. So your mail is going to continue. I'm trying to think of all the things that have been shut down. I think really attention's going to turn elsewhere almost immediately. So we saw immediately there was an Arizona House member who was elected in September. She has not been sworn in since her election. She got sworn in Wednesday. And she was the final vote they needed on a discharge petition to make the Epstein files go to the House floor for release. So sometime in the next 2 legislative weeks, we should see them take a vote on whether they're going to have the DOJ release all of the Epstein files. I think attention's going to turn there. I think we're going to be looking at the Stock Act. People want to ban stocks. That's been discussed since September with the House out of session. People were they were pressuring Speaker Johnson to move that to the floor. Now that we're back in session, I'm hearing that's going to come. I also think big for North Carolina is the Lumbee recognition bill. I think we're going to see some movement on that now that we're not dealing with the shutdown, which we've been dealing with that for over a century. So like where that goes, I don't know, but they're hoping our members -2 are hoping to see that pass this year.
And is it right? So the next potential shutdown, January 30th, is that right for the next date? Okay. So what are the chances of this happening again? Do you think they've learned a lesson?
No, I mean, it's Congress, right? The funny thing is, like, I've been covering Capitol Hill for 4 years now, and this is something we talk about in our newsroom is like, do we scare people with there could be a shutdown story or not? And I've learned very quickly, we talk about shutdowns all the time. They rarely ever happen. There's always like a midnight deal that solves the problem. So like we try to edge on not scaring the public. This time it was very real and it was very immediate, and people, there was a lot of passion on both sides and they dug their heels in. This issue hasn't gone away. We're still dealing with healthcare. Those subsidies are going to expire before January. So if Democrats feel that they need to take this up, I could see us going into a shutdown again. I don't know how that works because Republicans will see it coming, but at the same time, they didn't do anything to cause it specifically besides not negotiating on it. So I think it's anyone's guessing game.
All right. Well, there's more to talk about this, particularly with Congressman Dawn Davis and the 2026 election. We're going to get to that.
Not sure how to tackle your taxes? Are you sweating the small print? You may be experiencing FOMO, the fear of messing up. The answer? Using TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They help you get your biggest refund, and then we help you do more with it. With a personalized plan designed to help you hit your money goals. It's time to take your taxes to the max. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
After the break, we'll be right back. You're listening to Under the Dome. I'm Capitol Bureau Chief Dawn Vaughan, here with Danielle Battaglia. Before the break, we talked all things federal shutdown, including one of the Democrats who voted to reopen the government. We're going to delve more into that. It's Congressman Dawn Davis, who is probably the one member of the House delegation from North Carolina whose name has had the most headlines lately, not just for this, but because of redistricting. So Danielle, and again, we're recording this late on Friday. What's the latest with Davis, both his vote and what this means for him in the 2026 election?
Yeah, so Representative Davis is an interesting man to watch in our delegation because we always had some like interesting characters where you never knew how they were going to vote, especially like with the Dan Bishops and Madison Cawthorns of the world, where they were with the Freedom Caucus, and the Freedom Caucus kind of like riles things up. And so they could, buck what the Republicans were doing. But this time with Dawn Davis, he doesn't always vote Democrat. He is a moderate Democrat. Sometimes he votes with Republicans. And this was one of those moments. So there was only a handful of Democrats that voted with Republicans to reopen the government. And he was one of them. And it's interesting to watch him because he is running for re-election in District 1. Well, actually, we don't know in District 1. I'm sorry, let me take that back. He is running for re-election. He has a choice between District 1 and District 3. District 1 is his current seat, but they drew his house into District 3. And so he's got a choice to make. We've been hearing that he's going to make a decision, and I had heard this week. Now I'm thinking probably next week, trying to figure out where he's going to run. And that was the same thing we saw with Representative Greg Murphy. Greg Murphy was like, I can run in either Davis's district or my district because my house is in one, but I have a beach house and I like the beach and my job is beach. So he almost ran in the other district, but he stuck with 3. So District 3, his district. So, we're waiting to see what he does. And I always find it interesting to watch Republicans try to run against Representative Davis because he is a moderate. They try to attack him on Democratic issues, but he so often votes with Republicans that for Republicans, I feel like he's not the worst guy to have around. So I'm always fascinated to watch what his vote is.
All right. And Davis, of course, previously served in the General Assembly, which I'm mentioning to segue into what's going on at the General Assembly this week. And not a whole lot, really. Democratic Governor Josh Stein called for an extra session for Medicaid funding. This is Medicaid rebase funding, not expansion. This is just the reimbursement rates. And his administration started cuts in October wanting the legislature to appropriate more money, knowing that the money was going to run out by April. That didn't happen. The October session was just a few days. It came and went. And the November session, which is just kind of these placeholder sessions we've done before for a couple of days this week and then again in December. But House Speaker Dustin Hall and Senate Leader Phil Berger told reporters in October that they don't expect any more votes. So technically, I mean, it's in their adjournment resolution. They were already scheduled to be back Monday. And that's also when Stein called for the extra session about Medicaid, but they're not technically out of session, which is one of the reasons why Berger and Hall sent a joint letter to Stein on Thursday saying, we're not coming, and rejecting that. And so this is kind of an interesting, really the first serious tension point between our Democratic governor and the Republican-controlled legislature. It's over Medicaid funding, but it's about more than that. And by the way, we are now the last state in the country to have a new comprehensive state budget. So that's kind of hanging out in the air too. Democrats, as of Friday that I had heard from, some Democrats are going to be coming on Monday. They still, like I said, it's just this procedural gavel in and out session. So we'll see if by the time people are listening to this, you'll know if all the Democrats showed up, some of the Democrats showed up, and just the few Republicans needed for these procedural reasons. But Democrats are also having a couple different news events about both, attention on Medicaid and then also on the fact that there isn't a budget. So that's what's going on over on Jones Street this week. Moving on to our picks for headliner of the week. Danielle, you go first. What's your headliner of the week?
Well, Dawn, it's our favorite time of year. It's the holidays. So my headliner of the week is for the next 2 weeks, will be watching very carefully for an announcement from the White House. And I have no inside information before I say this, but we know that President Biden liked to do very North Carolina-centric holidays with Christmas trees coming from North Carolina and Capitol Christmas trees coming from North Carolina and the turkeys that he pardons coming from North Carolina. So I know neither tree is from North Carolina this year, womp womp. But I'm hoping that the turkeys that get pardoned are from North Carolina. And again, I have no inside information. This is just me hoping I get to celebrate festiveness here in DC for Thanksgiving.
I have never covered a turkey pardon, even though I've covered the governor for the past, like several years now. I feel like whenever Governor Cooper, he either didn't pardon them or it was that one day before Thanksgiving where I was off or having people in town. So we'll see if I am here some of that week of Thanksgiving week. I'm off a few days if Governor Stein decides to have a turkey pardon at the mansion, and I can go check that out. So I don't know
if we do it at the White House this year, I think you should take a trip and I will get you into the White House pardoning.
That actually sounds pretty fun, really.
Right?
Well, my headliner is also holiday related. And it is the fact that, people are like, oh, don't decorate for Christmas until whatever date they want you to decorate, whatever. If people want to decorate for a holiday, they can do it whenever they want. Don't suppress their joy in celebrating the season. I actually have Thanksgiving decorations, including a lot of little turkey knickknacks. That's just how I am. So I'm not going to pull out all the Christmas until after Thanksgiving, just so I can leave my Thanksgiving decorations. But I am going to start some of it. So my headliner is early Christmas trees, which you'll see more at businesses. And here at the News and Observer, we're in the One City Center building and One City Plaza. I always confuse that because of the building in downtown Durham, since I worked in Durham for so long. But anyway, down on City Plaza, where the tall brick building, in the lobby of our building, they were just putting up the Christmas tree this week. So people that follow me on Instagram can see that. But I thought that was really cool. I always get a real tree. I won't be putting that up until whatever date in December. I think it'll last long enough, through Christmas. And I feel like since we are talking about North Carolina and DC, we should mention that the U.S. Capitol tree is the best of the trees to check out in DC, in my personal opinion, more than the White House tree, because it looks cooler at night. And I believe it's been from North Carolina before and has a lot of cool decorations and everything, ornaments.
Dawn and I are both from DC, and I do believe she's right on that, because the White House tree has this weird drapey thing over it that makes it pretty, where the Capitol has ornaments and stuff. And I believe the ornaments are from children decorated. But so the cool thing, if you go to the North Carolina tree at the White House, because there is a North Carolina, the tiny tree around the big tree, that one's got also ornaments decorated from little children from our state.
All right, you heard it from us, Dawn Vaughan, Danielle Battaglia, politics reporters and holiday decorations and tree reporters as well. So for the News and Observer and producer Kevin Keister too, thank you for listening, and we will talk to you next time.
For more from our politics team, subscribe to the News and Observer at newsobserver.com/subscribe. Follow us on Twitter at Under the Dome and NC Insider, and sign up for our weekly political newsletter, also called Under the Dome, at newsobserver.com/newsletters. Thanks for listening.